Happy 4th of July, everybody. Today's going to be a little music history here. What was music like before Pandora, before Prime Music, before iHeart, and various different apps that you go across? I'm going to start from the earliest part of music and talk a bit about that because I'm glad I've taken music history classes. And also, I did take music appreciation at some point in my curriculum. Well, different curriculums. The current one I was with, I took music history. But hey, I did learn some things between the two, and I wanted to share with you. Well, music, came about way in the early days for us. Because music formally started in the churches, like between the clergymen and the priests, the popes, the bishops. And I also think the Baptists have a lot to do with it too, because the Baptists here and there, they had something called hymnals. And yeah, ask me, I am trying to learn a few of them right now. And I'm starting to appreciate kind of the old text right there. Because that's how music started. They started in the churches. They started with the congregation. Yeah, that's how you got introduced. And yeah, and back in the olden days, you had to get permission to print music. To Atenol, I think. I think that's what his name is. Oh, I know there's the guy you gotta go through to get the music. And that was called the printing press, which is part of I believe that's the Renaissance era. You've got to have permission. That's called the printing press. And music wasn't like where we are at this point. Music was kind of like sacred before all that. They were given to the part books, like the soprano, the alto, the tenor, and the basses. Each of them got different things. So it took a lot of work to get those guys to print all of that for everyone. Let's say and this is when you hear something called copyright. If you're familiar with the copyright laws here, you probably are familiar when that happened. So a little later down the road, after the churches got affiliated with music, then it became more prevalent in the homes, like as a way to entertain themselves. Like some people play piano, some people play in parties. They play in front of their friends or whatever. So and also you get into classical music. You learn the Baroque and classical. You learn about Monteverdi. You learn about Beethoven, Bach, all those ones, just to name a few. Also Telemann, there's other ones. These guys were the main forefront of music, by the way. And if you listen to one of them, some of these ones got gospel writings in the music. It might not be just evident right away, but sometimes you can tell the more you hear it. So then again, we get into the Romantic. Romantic is all the other ones. Like you got Bartok being in Romantic or 20th century, but anyways. There's some Romantics in there, think of the names. Okay, and then now we're into what is known as the 19th and the 20th century. Okay, so the 19th century, you start seeing a lot more advancements in your technology. Because in the 19th century, you have World War I, World War II, development of the record player, pretty much, happened at some point, radio record player, and that's how people listen to it. Before that, people would go to concerts and all of that stuff, to listen to live music. So what happened then, the record players had to, which they produced something called vinyl record, way back in the day. And yes, you can ask me because my parents have a few of those records in the house that we listen to on a regular basis because we got a stereo that can handle all that stuff. Record players and the other technologies that come about. And then radio, okay, that's another one that came in that era. Which radio, and I'm probably sure your parents can tell you about the radio. You don't get AM at first. Pretty much. There was no FM until probably now. So you were AM pretty much. You'd be lucky if you got a AM track, I think it is, A track. Which A track tapes you cannot I think there's a part you cannot rewind or go back to the song. You have to wait till the song comes back on to listen to it. And then it got further into that when the cassette tapes rolled around, you were able to go to rewind back and to go for it. You know, you can play and pause, you can do any of that. So then you had some advancements of cassette players like the Walkman, that's like the 80s, I think, early 90s. And CDs were coming up and around the corner because they became the popularity of it all. So you've had, if you had to create a good mixtape, that was pre your iPod days. iPods, iPhones, and most major phones, you know, they can store up to thousands of songs, right? But the max you can store up to a cassette tape is about 30. If you create a good mixtape. So, and then again you've got FM that rolled on the radio since back then. And then you start to get CDs. Something very similar to this. I'm holding one of my Christian tapes here, but if you were into Billboard, like the top hits of that particular year, my dad's got a few of them, like a whole shelf full of them. Which this is just like it tells you the songs of that year, pretty much on that tape. Whoever made the top list. So this one, for example, I have this is Wild Hits 2001. I'm going to show you the tape in a second, but it's all like just like Billboard. They got the top hits of a certain year. For this one, I can show you. This is the year's top 30 Christian artists in hits. Okay, because some of these guys, like this one and several lines here, came in a 2-disc selection. That was before your Spotify's came around, your iHeart, your Pandora, your Prime Music. I think I just named all the apps that you listen to music on. And way before you had an iPhone right here that can get onto playlists. This was the thing that people put in their cars if your car had a CD player. If it had a cassette player, you'd have to have something to record these, like a stereo with a CD and a cassette player. The cassette would have to record from the CD, and then a lot of times you would have to flip sides of the cassette to get one CD sometimes. But you'd have to use multiple cassettes to get about 2 or so CDs, or maybe a little bit more. So I'm going to show you a little bit. So you see right here they said silver disc. I know it's kind of blurry, but just forgive it right now. Silver disc and blue disc. I just see what I show you. So this is all your top hits on each year. And once you end the songs here, you gotta kind of get up off your butt and change the disc out. Like, it's called eject. Open the case, put it back in, and put the new disc in. So that's how it kind of was about for most of our time here. All the way until about, I think, when Pandora started was the 2010s or so. So the 2010s kind of came rolling about, and you had, I just showed you my phone right here. Right here, this is what you got: iHeart, you got Prime Music, you got Spotify, you got Pandora, and other. That's the ones that are my main front apps. And if you got Apple Music, that's the fifth one I'd add, or Android Music is sixth. But that was pre-gear music before. It's like there was no Pandora, you know, and now it's like your cars got equipped with too much fancy stuff. Sorry to say it, but this is kind of the darn truth. I'm not sugarcoating nothing, because you know what? Especially, like, I know, because these are getting more obsolete these days, you know. But these are good to have when you kind of don't have internet and you have to go to old-fashioned physical media and probably old-fashioned radio. If good luck if your radio's going to work or not, you know. So that's how it was. And music kind of was like, yeah. Because sometimes you live through that era. If you know the songs on all those billboards or Wild Hits, Wild Worship, you lived through those eras. There's no other way back in the time. It's like, yeah, you listen to it. If you listen to Christian radio, some people listen to whatever their station was at the time. For my area, for the first part, we did not have K-Love. That was the first part. So most of our music came from 5 songs, which is for us was a so we're from Louisiana, so it kind of, that was the station we used back in this time. It wasn't until about very recently, so around, I think a little bit before the pandemic, when we started getting K-Love. Which is that station, because I know other states got it before we did. So, and other cities did before we did. That was the number 1. And I hope you enjoyed my little intro before your how music was back in the day. And I hope everybody stays safe in this 4th of July, and I'll see you butts next time.